So a couple months ago, Azra threw me a giant curveball. I was sitting in a work meeting in Sacramento, and one of my competitors, guy who beats me every time, texted me, "Congratulations, they're moving us to expert with two other guys." And my stomach just dropped, because that wasn't in my plans at all. My immediate thought was, all right, we're going to protest it because I'm not an expert. And so I've been thinking about it for, well, the last couple months, and I'm not going to protest it. I don't even think it would be granted anyway, because I've never heard of anybody getting it granted. But I was competitive in novice. I had several races where I was even quickest lap and came second, almost first a couple times. I really wanted to get a win, and it never happened. So I was really putting a lot of effort into this year, psyching myself up for, quite frankly, running for a novice championship in lightweight supersport or ULSB. Both of those I was competitive in. But instead, I got that, and it's like every time I've moved up to a different track day group, or even just the first day signing up for a race day, getting bumped or trying to move to something more difficult is, I mean, it's scary, but it's always made me better. So screw it. I guess I will be the most underqualified expert in all of the Midwest, and potentially the most underqualified expert in the entire United States going into this year. So this has prompted me to get a little wild, because while I'm competitive in novice, I'm at least 3 or 4 seconds away from even just basically not being lapped in a GTL race by the experts. So obviously I've been having shifting issues, and this I cannot fix it. It's internal. So I got another engine. Got a cheap engine. This engine, I sort of know some of the history on it. I have no idea if this is even going to work. It's not going to be an improvement on horsepower or anything. That engine's got, the old one had like, I don't know. I mean, obviously the issue was I can't shift it right. So it's going to have to take split cases. This one, I bought this engine for $100. It had freeze damage. I know the person that repaired it. That's not the person I bought it from. And I don't actually know what the ultimate goal for this thing was, but I just got the valve covers off it last night, because I was like, oh, I'm looking at these Ape manual chain tensioners. And I'm like, shit, I bet this is a cheater motor. So I wanted to check the valve clearances, and then I wanted to check if it had flipped cams, because I was going to have to make another purchase to make it super sport legal. Even though I know I have the least amount of horsepower on the grid, just being a Gen 1, because they got about 3 or 4 horsepower less than a Gen 2. I was like, I'm gonna have a moral dilemma. What if I see this flipped cams? Literally nobody's gonna know. But no, I don't have to worry about that. The valve clearances, they're in spec, but they don't match what was written on them. Anyway, I don't have flipped cams, so this is a super sport legal engine. I don't have to worry about being a cheater. Just have to switch a couple things around. I'm not gonna do anything to it. I just want to see if it runs. I need to find out if it runs first, because there's some weird stuff. So I can see that the freeze plug was repaired there, and I can also see this one doesn't show it as much. Actually, if you look at the front, I can actually see that there's antifreeze on some of these things still. So the point is, I don't know if this engine's actually going to run right, and if it doesn't, then this one's going right back in. I do think I want to get this rebuilt or rebuild it myself. I'm kind of really worried about rebuilding it myself. I think given enough time, I can probably figure it out. But if there's somebody in Wisconsin that does that kind of thing, and you got a recommendation on it, let me know, because I don't know, I'm going through all these different things in my head. The SV650 is getting a little long in the tooth. Obviously the new GSX-8R, which looks like an abomination to me, just released, and now that's 776 cc's that just got homologated for lightweight for some reason. Obviously RS660s are going to crush everything. Yamaha R7s, I just watch a lot of things walk away from me, and I'm running what is probably like a 68 horsepower motor versus Gen 2s, which are like 72 horsepower, and then 660s just fucking walk from you. But there's so much to be gained. Like, just watching my riding, there's 3 or 4 seconds that I can gain just by being a better rider. So I'm going to be last place in all of the races coming up this next year. So having a couple extra horsepower isn't going to be the make or break from it. I'm going to learn by getting more seat time. I'm learning a shit ton by just finding out what doesn't work. I mean, that's why I started taking this thing apart, pulled the swing arm off. I actually wasn't even planning on that. I just wanted to take the shock off. I've been fighting that shock for a while because I've been having clearance issues by this exhaust, this Micron exhaust. I could not get the thing to the ride height that I wanted, so I unfortunately had to make a little dent in it to actually get the ride height I wanted, and I had to shorten up one of the linkage bolts, so that's been really fun. That was a stupid problem to have, but it's a problem that I do have. I could buy an M4 exhaust. I mean, those are the best ones you can get for these things, but I don't know, I'm balling on a budget here. One major change that I did do to this bike, I sent off my forks to Zoran at TWF Racing out in Reno, and I had him fix it with the GSX-R cartridges. So I now have adjustable forks and, you know, compression, rebound, and stuff on the front, running 0.85. So there's a 0.9 spring in one and a 0.8 in the other. The main thing I wanted, though, was some adjustability, and I've actually found I was screwing myself on that front suspension. I was running cheap eBay knockoff emulators, so no-name emulators, so I just take a couple guesses on how to set them up. Didn't really know. But one thing I did notice is I was having to run 25 weight fork fluid because my rebound was so fast. So to slow the rebound up enough, I was having to run 25. So the compression was really strong, but the rebound was pretty quick. So it didn't have a whole bunch of rebound damping on it. So I was having to run a much higher weight fluid, and my damper rods weren't filled. The bleed hole wasn't filled, so that was probably why. And that may have contributed to, there's one major issue that I was having on the last weekend when I switched to a heavier spring in the rear. I just pushed so hard, so having too quick of a rebound may have been contributing to that. So the major thing I wanted was some adjustability, so I can just go on a track day practice or a race day practice, just go wild on the settings, go all the way to one, all the way to the other, just see how it affects it and figure out what actually works for me. So yeah, that's where I'm at with this thing. I hate winter. I really do, but this is a winter where I'm actually going to need the entirety of it to hopefully figure out something that's going to work for me next year. I just got these in yesterday. I'm very excited about it. I don't like the fact that I have white plates. It's way too early for white plates, but that's what we're running with. But I got the Mega Goose stickers. I'm really excited to put these giant goose stickers on the bike. Really damn excited. I'm not excited about putting this thing on the front and crinkling it all up because I suck at applying those things. And then I bought 50 of these to give away to kids because I realized that kids walk around for autographs and stuff, which is really cool. It's like one of my favorite things about being at the track and being a competitor is that you get little kids running around, and I wanted to be able to give stuff out, and I gave out all of my stickers last year, so I needed to get a whole bunch more of them. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to next year. I know it's going to be a big hit on my ego, because I was really planning on trying to run up front. Instead, I'm going to take a bunch of licks. I'm likely to get passed by some of the faster novices next year, which in reality I am. But ultimately, this is going to be the right way to go to improve quicker, because realistically the ultimate goal is not to win a novice race. The ultimate goal is to win an expert race someday, and that's not going to happen next year, but bit by bit maybe I'll get closer. A couple of those second places were really damn close. I really wanted to get a #1 piece of plastic. Instead, I accidentally participation pointed my way to an expert license. So what are you going to do? I don't know. That's my 2024 outlook. Excited for it, but also realized that it's going to be a tough one. Oh yeah, that was really cool when I was just rolling the engine over and I saw a whole bunch of fuel dump out the front, so I have a bad float valve, so clean the carburetors, new float valves got to go in there. Basically, I have no idea when this thing's going to be running again, but hopefully sometime in February, once all of the ice falls off of the road and I can actually see if it works. If you got any encouragement or things I should do while I got it this way, let me know. If you watch this far, thanks for watching.